People, welcome to another Steve Rude live stream. It is currently February 15th, the day after Valentine's Day, 2025. Tomorrow this will be a non-live stream, and the following days thereafter. You guys know I'm really big on practicing. Sketchbook stuff is always at a fingertip access, as I call it. And this is the kind of stuff I practice. I mean, there's no end to what you need to work on. It's just the way the human brain works, which is extremely faulty. You learn it one day and you forget it the next. So, fortunately, I really like doing this kind of stuff. And you guys know that in my main craft is comic book art and illustration. Well, this is all in preparation for that work. And I do a lot of diverse stuff, working on from animation drawings to help me be fluid, and line cursiveness, and the general things like hands and things like that are always hard for me. This right here is a Kirby exercise right here. This was from one of his 1975 books right here. And I thought I would try to bring Kirby back to his mid-60s days right here without all the squiggles going on. So that's just an exercise for me. Is there anything else in here? Yeah, there's some more Kirby stuff right here. Kirby fans all know where I got this from. Captain America in the late 1960s. And this, of course, is from Kirby's New Gods. And that came out in 72, I think, 71, 72. So we'll set this aside right here. Today we're going to be doing some drawing from the How to Draw Nexus book. You guys know all about this by now. We're going to be reprinting this, and we're probably going to call it a different name, like, what are they going to call it? Let me read my little sheet here. It's going to be called How to Draw the Rude Way. Well, okay. So if you want to draw the rude way, that's going to be the next incarnation of this book right here. And as always, I'll be drawing something from this book as the lessons of basic drawing continue. Throat clearing tea. Needs to be hotter and have more honey. So we got some President's Day stuff going on. On Monday is President's Day. Leading up to that day, we're going to try to get people on board with looking at these prints right here. Okay, everyone's seen them. Here's the bigger version, along with a very squeaky chair. Drives me nuts. So the President's Day sale thing is going to be any money, $5 off. Every order is donated. $5 of every sale is donated to the troops through Comic Books for Troops. Now, how can you beat that? Video supported by Patreon. Well, you guys know how important that is. So the word here is from on high. Support us to keep these live streams going. We need 1,000 paid backers to be fully funded. Currently, we have 90. Paid Patreon members receive scans of drawings from today's live stream, which will be done in this kind of paper right here, including the reference used. Sometimes there is no reference. Sometimes there is. Today is going to be reference day. So we're going to reference a page out of here, right here, and I'll show you how I would draw it up. This is the latest commission I have going on right here. It's a reprint of an old comic book, a redo of an old comic book cover from the 50s. And I'm doing it up as a painting instead of this line art with comic book coloring on it. You can see that I'm just starting the background here. The girl is basically done. You can see where I run into problems here. I have to scrub the area out so I can redo it. If something's bad, some people, like saying a head, someone will pick at an ear forever. I just obliterate the damn ear. And it just helps me reorient myself to what the big picture of the ear is doing. Because if it's faulty and I'm doing it wrong, it's better just to clear the slate and try it again. So that's going on. I already told you about this right here, how to draw the rude way. We need 300 signups before we can launch. The goal is to launch in May. sign up for the description below. So that would be down here somewhere. So 300 signups mean it's going to finance the book. If we don't get 300, we can't publish the book because it won't make cost. If we get 400 people signing up, it's going to be even better. Then I can get some art supplies. So let's get right into one of the pages here from the How to Draw the Animated Nexus. This was done originally, and still is, as a guide for animators and layout people if the show, the Nexus cartoon show, ever comes into being. So, being the smart guy that I am, I've prepared something light years ahead of time in the event it does happen. Now here's the thing we worked from last time. There's 3 pages of the entire Nexus cast in here. Last week I did Asunder, Appeal, and Nexus, and today we're going to be doing something from here. We're probably going to pick something hard like the girls' faces. And the third one, which I'll be working on next week, is going to come from this thing right here, which is the remaining cast of the Nexus character. So you can see how this book is laid out right here. It's spiral bound because everyone knows how valuable that is, so it doesn't get in your way. You can actually set it on your drawing board. So it starts off things like this: construction, all the basic stuff, drawing figure tips, the right way, the wrong way. Apparently there's a lot of wrong ways out there, otherwise I wouldn't have felt the need to do it. So let's get right into it here. Let's make room for Daddy here. So we're gonna draw these 2 figures up here, okay? And this is gonna be a regular feature. This is an ongoing feature that I'm gonna be showing you guys and girls about how I construct figures. So everything you see here is constructed in the way that I'm gonna be showing you now, okay? After a sip of tea. Okay, so let's start. What are we going to do here? We're going to do these 2 characters right here. This is the way I start off everything right here, okay? So whatever I'm showing you here is the way I actually work. There are some guys that like to start off with eyes, things like that. That's the way they do things. The way I've decided to work and the way I've been trained is to start from the big things and go into the little things. So we don't start with things like eyes. We always draw through the figures right here. This girl has got a very specific gesture to her. This is Lonnie, Stacy, Lonnie Loomis right here, yeah. She's the good girl in the Loomis sisters. These girls started out as little kids. Now they're all full grown. And she's going to be touching her big sister's arm here. Keep the head sizes the right thing right here so we don't have to worry about having to erase a lot of stuff when we really get into it. I'm going to make this figure big so we have some room to draw right here. I always notice that the head can fit into a circle no matter where it goes. This comes from Loomis, and it's just something I kind of observed on my own. There's the eyes in the middle. So everything is drawn through right here.
We got a comment that says, saying that they bought the Draw Nexus book. It says, worth every penny and more.
Did you hear that, folks? There's nothing like an actual testimonial here. Worth every penny and more. You guys hear that? Okay, good. Good, I don't have to repeat it then. Hands are always a problem for me. But I'm working on them. Let me tell you. Now we clothe the girl here. She's a fashion model. Stacy Loomis is a fashion model. So that makes her automatically a bit of a snob. I'm blocking in. All the Loomis sisters have 3 thin lips. It was actually based on a girlfriend of Mike Barron's when we invented Loomis sisters. Now I'm going to convert to the grandma writing the letter kind of stance here with my hand, because I can get into little things that way. Slightly pointed nose, slightly. Nostril. And she's got kind of squinty eyes, Stacy does. If you just indicate the slightest bit of darkness here, you'll see that, well, what are we going to see here? We're going to see how that eye is visible in spite of the smallness of it. I always draw through everything here. We know where the ears go. See, this is how you learn how to draw right here. Every book throughout history, since the Stone Age, has shown you the proportions of the head and how to work them up. So underneath all this stuff is just a head, a shaved head, if you want to look at it that way. I don't like this. I don't like this eye right here. So that we get out the eraser and see if I can do it right this time. Oh, I think I can get it. I see. That's a little better. I can tolerate that. Nose is a little too long, so we'll bring it in. Now, this is funny because even a line's width right here can really affect the look of somebody. The funny thing is, if you've ever seen somebody with a really small nose, especially guys, it looks really weird. On girls, it's fine. But too small, there's such a thing as too anything, so. She's got that smirk in her face. I got to get that right. So we're talking about getting her character down. I know what she is. I know what she's not. She's a high fashion model, very much in demand. And she's a little bit snooty. That's a Wisconsin term, in case you're wondering. Notice the influence of the 80s going on here. That's because we did it in the 80s. God, do I miss the 80s, when people were actually sociable. The back of her head needs to be expanded a little bit, extended. This, again, is 80s clothes right here. Now, I'm watching this the whole time to make sure I keep everything in proportion. Ears apparently are something that channels sound into your head, so that's why they have all these weird spirals going on. The big shoulder things, the shoulder pads that went on in the 80s. I love the 80s, and everyone else who lived through them, I'm sure, feel the same way about it. Of course, we've got some folds going on here. Her eye could be lowered a little bit more. But in the interest of fluidity here and time management, we will maybe save that till the very end. Do they use buttons in the 26th century? I don't know, but apparently we do here. Let's bring the eye down a little bit. Just a little bit. Grind it, and it's sharpened. Instant sharpened pencil. So you see the snooty look going on there? Good. Hands. She's, Stacy is grabbing onto her midriff here. That's a Wisconsin term. Now remember, with a hand, it's got the base right here. It's attached to the wrist. It flares out a little bit like this. And then you've got down here you've got these bones, and everything kind of radiates from this one point right here. So knowing all that, it's still not any easier. There ought to be a law. I just think these gloves are cool right here. Joint, joint, joint. In perspective. Would this go like this? It might curve like that, yeah. These girls have to be ultra thin to make this kind of a living right here. Probably 500 years from now, they'll still require them to be thin, ungainly thin, unholy thin. Now, she doesn't have a glove in her other hand here. Now, when you do hands like this, remember, it's still a hand. It's still like this, like this, like this, like that. It's still a hand. It's just from a different viewpoint. But everything is the same, but the viewpoint is different. So that's what I try to think about when I do stuff like this. I kind of picture it kind of like from this view being like this, okay? Okay, let's keep going with Stacy here. Stacy Loomis. We'll thin the chin. Thin the chin. Alex Soth was always talking about when he drew girls, he was always a little nervous because one line out of place would screw the whole thing up. Grind. That's actually a sound effect. This thing is actually noiseless here. So middle of the head, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, this is all very important stuff right here. So buried underneath all this hair is her head, just like with Stacy here. To draw the nose from any angle, you have to think the same way I'm talking about the hands here. You've got to think of it three-dimensionally. Every good artist knows this right here. So the nose, it's kind of like this kind of stuff going on. There's the bridge, there's the nostrils, it comes down like that. There's the septum thing or whatever. And the nostrils fit in there, see? This is the kind of thing where Alex Stoth was right. If there's anything really off about it, erase it and fix it. Lonnie Loomis is the only one who's sane in the Loomis family. Everyone else is a little buggy. Yeah, like I said, she was actually based on one of Mike Barron's old girlfriends. Eyes are too low. We'll bring them up just a little bit. So it's very sensitive stuff, these proportions right here. And after all these years, you think it would be a 1, 2, 3? Well, I kind of wondered that too. Why isn't it a 1, 2, 3? When you're drawing eyes, remember that if it's over this way, it has to look like that. In the middle, it's a full circle. Anywhere else, it's kind of like an ellipse kind of a thing. Mouths, the thing that's constant with mouths are the teeth, the top row of the teeth. Everything, smiles, you know, they're like this. The front teeth are there. So that's one of the things I had to figure out on my own when I have to draw mouths all the time. And that's another thing where the slightest wrong move on the mouth, you'll have to erase it and do it again. Sometimes I project my own art lesson into these things when I do them. I'm actually not even looking specifically at where I'm drawing. I'm thinking of something, I don't know, it's just kind of a weird memory thing. All the Loomis girls are pretty because they're based on Andrew Loomis girls. So let's finish off the rest of the head, all that kind of stuff. All the stuff that everyone has to know about to be any kind of an artist. Drink. So we kind of got something okay going on here. Remember when you draw the eye, this is what you're looking at. Something like that. And it's very easy to make them cross eyes or looking in the wrong direction. In fact, that is probably the most effortless thing I've ever done as an artist, is to make the features askew. So top of the head, the hair is just something that covers, blah, blah, you know. Okay, there's Lonnie Loomis. And of course, because she's different from the rest of the snooty girls, and being a non-snoot, she dresses differently. She dresses kind of conservatively. Oh, another hand? Great. Okay, good. So, let's bring the hand out. It's got to wrap around this form right here, which is a cylinder. The arm is a cylinder. We got to situate it just right, so it looks like it's actually wrapping around. Draw through. There's the end of the knuckles right there. Lonnie Loomis has a scarf on, a little scarf. And I also have really good reference files for the latest fashions that girls wear. Always a big deal. The slightest wrong move with that mouth, you can have an underbite, you can have an overbite. It's effortless to do that kind of a thing. So effortless that 9 out of 10 times I'll be erasing this very thing right here. You got to draw the teeth right, or you're screwed. No, another hand, really, okay. Self-torture right here. The big shapes. Is this, let's see, how would that work? Okay, so it's this part right here that's going over her. So we bend down, cross over. Sometimes a little pinky part. There's the thumb. So you see, everything I'm doing is drawing through something. I could draw something like this, but I think it looks better to do a sense of curvature. Like this is her hip that's sticking out the most. So I go like that instead of just like that. No charge on that one. Noses are the same way. If you get the nose, if you so much as get a nostril wrong, you change the shape of her nose. And remember, these are Loomis girls, so they have to look pretty gorgeous to be Loomis girls. Let's block in her sweater here. You can see, obviously, I'm using the side of my pencil here. We're going back to that old thing. These cannot be done without thinking about them. You know, the contours are going to change depending on the shape underneath them. So the idea that you can just rattle something off is kind of a non-truth. It's something artists say to make them sound better than they really are. Of course, we at Rude Central have nothing to do with such tripe. Okay, Lonnie, let's fill in the rest of your head here. When Baron and I were doing these characters, they were, you know, artists and writers always talk about, well, they write themselves after a while, and all that means is that they're coming alive. And it's a phenomenon that really nobody can explain where that comes from. A sense of creating a character from your head. Well, who is she? Where did she come from? Well, those are things the author has to figure out. And me as an artist, I like to figure those things out too. So you can see how this works right here, guys. There's always drawing through. There's always drawing the basic mannequin. And that's how we draw the rude way. Don't forget, we have a head here. It's based on this kind of a shape right here. It goes up like this. It goes around the back. It goes around to the back view, which is kind of like this right here. The base of the skull is up here. The top is up here. And the neck goes down there. And then the jaw comes, if you're drawing through it, it's something like that, see? And then it's just a matter of breaking it down into different shapes. Now, most everyone out there, especially those in the rude audience, already know these important things. But just in the event we have a straggler here who is turned in late and knows nothing about the rude method, we do this for them. Black spotting has to be carefully done. When you blacken in something, you're calling attention to it. And if you do it without regard to the whole composition, then it's not gonna read well. So I'm very selective in how I do the blacks and these things right here. Now down here, this might be a problem. It looks like it connects with this character right here, this kid's leg. So that could be changed a little bit. Maybe I could move the leg up a little bit, all that kind of stuff. A lot of it you see afterwards, but try to catch it before it goes out to the editor or other hands. So we cover the hand, we cover the nose, cover the eye, cover the head, and that's how I end up doing these things right here. Now from here, we would ink the thing. And these are perfectly done enough, I think, that any inker could take over and work from this right here. If we're talking comic book language here. Oh, her ear is covered, but you still want to draw through that ear, right? So we're going to call this the Lonnie Stacy files. Coming to a TV show or a platform near you, streaming platform, right? And the artist is me, Steve Rude. And it's February 15th. Sometimes you'll see me do a J there. That's because I'm a little behind the times, as in January. So don't forget, President's Day, this is what you'll get if you sign up and contribute the appropriate amount of bread. And don't think this was easy, because it wasn't. Cherry blossoms are all over this area. I know because I was in Washington, D.C., and they're the most beautiful things. F-14s, F-15, the Eagle, or the, what was the other one called? I can't think of it right now. It's not the Phantom, it's something else. Oh well, we'll research that in the near future right here. But in the meantime, that's the lesson for today. Next week we're going to tackle something from here, and that's the name of the book. Spiral bound, 1 billion pages in here, covers every Nexus character and drawing tips. Rightfully so. So whenever you order this thing, you're going to get kind of like an entire drawing book in a very abbreviated form. You don't got to have 500 pages in these things. You can just have a small amount. That's it for today. Arrivederci, ciao, and don't forget to put a little joie de vie in your work every day. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.